Welcome back to Football Factory, where we just talk ball. So week 1 of the NFL season is done, and it's time to start my weekly recap and reports. Be sure to turn notifications on, as I will be breaking down the best and worst performances from the NFL all season. Let's get into it. Ravens versus Chiefs. First regular season game is a rematch of the AFC Championship matchup, with 2 elite teams and elite quarterbacks. The Chiefs held off a Ravens comeback by inches. Chris Jones is the best defensive player in the NFL right now and continues to wreck games in little and big ways. For the Ravens, not trusting the skill players are good enough outside of Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers will be an ongoing issue. They are going to see a lot of man coverage, and with that shaky pass protection from the O-line, blitzing the Ravens will be top of the list for opposing defensives. RPO is their calling card on offense right now. These teams are close enough, but I fear the Ravens blew a chance to steal some momentum from the Chiefs in week 1. Packers versus Eagles. The showdown in Brazil was exactly what the NFL wants to see. Tons of scoring and drama all the way to the very end. The Packers wide receivers let the team down. Catch the ball, fellas. For the Packers, most of the issues in the loss was not capitalizing on the Eagles' mistakes and blown coverage, only getting 9 points off 3 Eagles turnovers. Then letting the Eagles score on big plays and running the ball cost the Packers the dub in Brazil. The Eagles treated this like the first preseason game, so hopefully for them, the turnovers and points allowed can be fixed sooner rather than later. The Eagles' pass rush will have to show up if the offense is going to score points like this. The Packers just need to get Jordan Love healthy and keep improving on defense. Bears versus Titans. The Titans are going to have to hold on to leads if they want to keep pace in their division. They were up 17-3 going into halftime. The defense was making life tough on the #1 overall pick Caleb Williams, but they let the Bears grind out a win with a lack of execution and a bad turnover in the second half. The Bears should be celebrating their first victory under Caleb, but they have to get him and the offense more settled on an identity and getting the QB easy plays to let him get a flow going early. That defense can win games, no doubt. Both teams can use a better performance heading into week 2. Cardinals versus Bills. The Bills offense follows the Josh Allen train to a win. It wasn't pretty for them, with penalties that negated some big plays and an ugly turnover by Allen holding on to the ball too long. The magic of having a QB like Josh is he can extend the play and launch the ball downfield. At the same time, he is cursed with the ability to keep the other team in games with bad turnovers. The Bills don't have much to lean on and proven talent on offense, but Keon Coleman will fit in well in this offense. Good start for the Bills. The defense for the Bills won this matchup by having a big game from edge rusher Greg Rousseau and the secondary limiting the Cardinals' big plays downfield, especially to their first-round wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. The Bills kept him to being a no-show in his first NFL game. The Cardinals are going to have to get that man the ball, even if you got to force it, honestly. The Cards don't have a crazy loaded offense either, so if you might have a guy, feed him. Both teams are to QB reliant. It's boom or bust if the quarterbacks don't play well or make lemonade out of lemons. Cowboys versus Browns. Among all the other drama with the Browns and their quarterback Deshaun Watson, a bad loss to the Cowboys at home was not something they wanted in the headlines too. I can't say I took away much positives for Cleveland, other than I know they had some injuries, particularly on the O-line. Still no excuse for the defense to let Dak and the Cowboys cook them up like that on the road. The Browns are going to have a very up and down season as it looks right now, and Dallas is doing that "We Dem Boys" chant until playoff time comes around, so enjoy it while it lasts. Steelers versus Falcons. The Falcons played right into the Steelers' hands by not being able to put points on the board and make the Steelers play from behind. The Justin Fields Steelers offense was ugly, but made enough plays and found a way to win a game they never scored a touchdown in. It should sting for the Falcons. They lost to a team that didn't even score on them. Trust me, the film is worst. The Falcons offense is kind of predictable, so let's see how they can keep mixing it up. Oh, and stop running outside zone plays, please. Vikings versus Giants. The Vikings are a team that made me think, what would they look like fully healthy? Then I remembered they are playing the Giants, and I settled down some. Yes, this is the NFL, and it is not easy to win games, but you do not get much more of a layup than the Giants right now. A team racing to a top 5 pick in next year's draft, the Giants are going to be an underdog in most of the games this season if they can't find a formula to win games. Malik Neighbors needs to be a mainstay in the offense if healthy, and the defense will have to play with the lead to let that pass rush be worth the investment. The Vikings deserve credit. This is a game they could have easily packed in and gave to the Giants, but instead they rallied around each other. Way to pick up some confidence early in the season, Minnesota. Raiders versus Chargers. The Raiders could not muster up a respectable offense outside of one touchdown drive. Other than that, I can't see an easier opponent for Jim Harbaugh's Chargers to pick up their first win of the season. Not much else to say here other than who's got it better than us. The rest of the NFL, because the Raiders are one thing, but let us see how you fare against the Chiefs, Jim. Running the ball and playing good defense is what Chargers fans can get used to as the season progresses. Raiders fans get ready for that top 5 pick in the 2025 draft. Panthers versus Saints. Not much to talk about here. The Saints gave the Panthers a NOLA beatdown to usher in the road to another number 1 overall pick for the Panthers in 2025. The Saints handled business and finished their food. The Panthers start off the season with a rough loss against a divisional opponent. Panthers fans, I can't tell you I have any good news for one of the league's worst teams, but Saints fans, you still are very much a 9-8 team until I see you beat up on someone your own size. Bengals versus Patriots. Can you get more confused than this game if you're the Bengals? How do you lose to the Patriots in the first game of the season at home? Oh yeah, you seem to not care about the first quarter of the season. That's how. These slow start Bengals open up the season with a loss at home for the second straight season. Not sure what else to say. The Patriots are maybe better than we thought, but I would not punch my ticket to the playoffs just yet. Let's see how both teams respond in week 2, but this is an ugly loss for the Bengals against an AFC opponent. Texans versus Colts. The Colts and Texans got them pads popping in a hard-hitting AFC South showdown. While the Texans were able to pull out the dub, it was a couple of plays that kept this game from shifting the Colts' way. An early divisional test for both teams that did not disappoint. I feel with 2-star quarterbacks and 2 physical teams, this matchup is going to be just as fun for years to come. Look forward to these 2 linking up again in week 8. It will be just as explosive if both teams are able to stay healthy enough. Jaguars versus Dolphins. The Jags were up in this game 17-7 heading into the half, and of course in typical fashion they gave the game away. A bad turnover by Travis Etienne on the goal line cost the Jags 7, which probably wins them the game on the count. The defense was playing well. We got our customary 1 game from Travon Walker, who had 2 sacks on the day. The Dolphins won this game because of some big plays, and the Jags can't finish their food. Another team that fell to a conference opponent in the Sunshine Bowl. By the way, Brian Thomas Jr. needs to keep getting the ball because he looks legit already in his young career. Broncos versus Seahawks. The Broncos can say they let one go, having outplayed the Seahawks relatively speaking for most of the game. The Seahawks have too many playmakers for them to not have found a way to put more distance from them in an okay Broncos team. I am not one to believe much in either of these teams. Put money on the Seahawks or Broncos making life difficult in their respective divisions. I would lose all my bread. I need to see how they perform week 2 because I am not impressed. Although y'all see Geno getting loose for a touchdown, that was impressive, I must say. Commanders versus Bucs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers surprised me by how well they dominated the Washington Commanders on Sunday. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs cooked up the Commanders secondary, and the defense kept number 2 overall pick Jaden Daniels guessing in his first start as an NFL quarterback. I cannot overstate how the Bucs handled themselves in the week 1 matchup. I thought this was a game Washington could steal. Todd Bowles and his Buccaneers team would not let that happen, and I would not be surprised if Tampa does not win the NFC South division, even if they have to battle it out with the New Orleans Saints. Rams versus Lions. The LA Rams dropped another matchup versus the Lions in an early playoff rematch from last season. Again, the Lions came out with the victory, but it wasn't without a solid effort by the Rams. Matthew Stafford started cooking in the second half, with the pass-happy Rams offense scoring 17 points to push the game into overtime. In OT, David Montgomery led the rushing attack down the field to put away the Rams looking to make a comeback. The Rams are going to be a team to deal with in the NFC, and the Lions are still a top dog in the NFC conference in their own right. Jets versus 49ers. The 49ers showed the Jets they can't roll out of bed and win off talent alone. This Jets team has a lot of promise for 2024 season, but they have to play better to beat elite teams like the Niners. The 49ers gained more total yards and dominated time of possession, while the Jets had like 2 legit drives the whole game. I think it should be a wake-up call for the Jets that they will need some pretty good performances from Aaron Rodgers because the defense cannot win all the games. If teams don't gift the Jets chances to stay in the game, this team is very beatable. For the 49ers, they need to get healthy, and we will see if they can make another run to losing a Super Bowl. Okay, some numbers to watch. Top 5 scoring offenses: Saints, Bills, Eagles, Colts, Vikings. Total yards gained: Ravens, Texans, Packers, Eagles, 49ers. Passing yards: Dolphins, Rams, Chiefs, Bucs, Ravens. Third down percent worst: Panthers, Browns, Bears, Jags, Falcons. Defense: scoring D, best: Vikings, Chargers, Pats, Saints, Steelers, worst: Panthers, Commanders, Cards, Packers, Browns. Yards allowed, best: Titans, Saints, Pats, Steelers, Cowboys. Also leading the league in sacks. 2-minute huddle let let's go. Sloppy team play all over the league. Very interesting to me that it was teams that had preseason's reps and teams that didn't. Every team has things to clean up. Expect better ball in week 2. I am still cool with the dynamic kickoffs teams have to account for the change in field position it can bring, or the fact that special teams coordinators are getting playmakers back there to crib some of these plays. Special teams in general help win or shift some of these games also, especially in the punting game. Remember, there are 3 sides of the ball in this game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment your favorite moments from week 1. Until next time.